so moist.
And we're back. Welcome to Functional Meatheads. I'm Mark DeSalvo.
And I'm Froilan Sanchez.
And it's good to be back after a little vacation there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it is. It is good. It's I've definitely missed it. Hearing that sound, hearing that music was like, oh, okay, this has been a while. This is fun. I've definitely missed it.
So Machete's not relevant anymore.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get a new intro. Actually, that's another thing. We're gonna, in the coming months. I mean, I just say months because Froy and I are working on a lot of projects right now. But there's gonna definitely be some changes around here, all for the better, and hopefully.
Wow, Mark's changed.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I'm joined as always by my trolling co-host, Froilan Sanchez.
Co-host. That's redundant. That's redundant.
Trolling co-host.
Can you believe what happened to me and Anthony? That's crazy.
Yeah, I did. I just actually today got to all the podcasts where like Rogan and other people are talking about it and the fallout.
Wait, you do pods on vacation?
What was that?
You didn't listen to anything on vacation?
Not really, no.
Oh, you're gangster.
Yeah, no. When I was on vacation, I have to say, like, that's a project, if any, and it's kind of like living what we preach, that I just disconnected. Like, I would come to the phone or whatever, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, and that would usually be to communicate with you or just to make sure no one was like really needing me or anything. Because I just disconnected. I would just be on the beach, riding my bike, going to the park and I did the Steve Maxwell workouts while I was there. It was all just like pull-ups and using stairs and stuff like that, and
nice.
It was good. But yeah, I mean, as far as Anthony goes, though, that's now that it happened a few weeks ago, and I'm hearing the immediate fallout a few weeks later as things have calmed down. I think that Jim Norton's right when he said on Rogan that Anthony will be back. I mean, maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's wrong, but I think once they think about the fact that they have 3 months left on their contract and they could just go make a podcast, and
yeah, but they can't make anywhere near the same amount of money, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it would be tough to make that much money again.
Let's know the numbers though. Like, how does Joe Rogan make money on this podcast?
All advertisements.
And is it good? How much is it? Do you remember the number?
I don't remember Rogan's, but I remember Mark Maron's, and he makes among the most that he can pull like 5,000 per spot, like commercial spot per episode. So he can pull a lot. It's not going to be your like Sirius XM or like your CBS numbers and stuff, but like that's pretty good. Especially Mark Maron's a one-man show. He's his own engineer. He's his own everything, and some of that goes to hosting, I'm sure, and then the rest of it's his. Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean that's kind of like a commentary on excess in a way too, like those contracts that are worth millions and millions. I doubt they'll ever be a thing of the past, but like it's almost like podcasting is the new form of radio, kind of like the new music industry is sort of on the internet, and people don't make as much money from music as they used to. It's like, well, for radio, you're probably not going to make as much money as you used to either, unless you're Howard Stern. So
yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
The new model is like the Kevin Smith, where you have multiple shows. You don't charge for the podcast, but you sell advertising, not like overt advertising like Joe Rogan advertising, more like subtle. Mm-hmm. And then you tour. You tour with a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, he had like, Kevin Smith had his free talk that he always has, and then he had 3 other ones that were paid.
Oh, wow.
But they were his podcasts. They were his 3 different other podcasts.
Yeah. Did you go to any of the events surrounding Comic-Con?
No, you know what? I went. I basically walked. I went to Comic-Con this year for anybody.
Yeah, Froy was at Comic-Con.
You know what? It's more about a vacation now, so I kind of just relaxed at the pool or went to have a nice breakfast, kind of like just relax type of stuff. I don't really. I walked the floor a couple hours each day, but it's so it's so vast and it's so buy. All it is buy. But do you like this? Buy this. Do you like this? Buy this. So it's kind of like shopping, you know. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool stuff. I bought 2 T-shirts, a Flash one, and a Nightwing shirt.
Right. Well, that's cool.
It's years before, and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe it's just years of going that I finally, kind of went from like, okay, I went because I like comics, and I used to go to the panels about comics because I was reading more comics. Now that I read less comics, it's just more about the TV shows that I get to see the pilots for. I saw the pilot for Gotham. I saw the pilot for The Flash. I saw the pilot for Constantine.
The whole episode you saw.
Yeah, the whole first episode. It's not even out till like next month, 2 months from now, whatever. Another TNT show that the stupid actor didn't even show up to. Sean Bean didn't even show up for this thing. I'm like, come on, dude.
I just saw posters for that on the subway.
Yeah, I went and saw that. I saw that pilot. So it's kind of interesting. You get to see some stuff that. But then I don't know. No, I didn't go to any other panels. I didn't go to any other things. I kind of just treat it more like a vacation that's in San Diego, with the con there at the same time.
Well, that's pretty cool. That sounds healthy. Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, if you get caught up in that, like I'm gonna go to this one panel, then you're stuck. If I wanted to go see the Avengers, let's say I wanted to see the Avengers, all of them showed up. Robert Downey Jr., all those people.
Yeah.
That meant that I would probably have to get in line from like 4 in the morning to get in probably by like 9 maybe.
Jesus.
Or probably people were sleeping out the night before, so either sleep in line the night before just to get into to that one room to be there all day.
And it's just to hear the actors talk, That's not
Well,
that.
no, they usually get a clip. Like people got a bunch of cool. They got the teaser, I think, like a light trailer.
See, to me, the pilots sound better than that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I've been walking past the set of Gotham. They're filming it right down the street from where I work.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah. If you want to come over, it's really cool. I've been seeing the old police cars and the taxis and whatnot. I mean, down where I work is like it looks like Gotham City.
Yeah. Well, the pilot's cool. I recommend it. I think it's gonna be a good show. It has a lot of potential.
That's cool.
I think it was probably the best out of all the other ones I saw.
Well, it must be shot by a team of people who know what they're doing because they're for a city production in a very confined space like it is down below Wall Street.
Yeah.
They're very unobstructive. They get what they need and they're out of the way. So.
Watch the Flash one too, because the Flash one has a lot of potential, just for like cool superhero stuff. Like it has a lot of potential for that. Like Batman, you already know what you're getting. You're not getting any super tricks, but the Flash, you're getting some cool. You get to see some cool special effects.
Yeah, because he actually has superpowers.
Yeah, he actually does stuff. So it's actually kind of cool. I have faith in the writing staff, so it'll be good. My buddy just got a job writing for it, so it'll be cool.
Good times. Wow, don't we sound like a bunch of entertainment hacks that we have a podcast? You have friends who write for TV shows. I work on TV shows and do training.
We train people. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, look at us.
It's good. Just like your vacation was kind of more, like you said, you got to do workouts that you wanted to do or what was available to you, which is very cool. Using what you have available. You don't get that like, oh, what am I going to do today? What do I feel like? You just like, okay, what do I have? All right, let's do that. It's kind of liberating in a way.
It was. I almost, when I got home and I had the gym and jiu-jitsu and everything available to me, I almost missed just my ritual of when I was there of waking up, walking on the beach and then going to the park and then just doing pull-ups and, my own workouts. And I brought the TRX with me. Like, I kind of missed that,
Yeah, there's a certain freedom that you get being outside, man. Like I told you, you get so you get a different kind of tired.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a primal, I worked out there all day, felt the sun, got what I needed to get. It's different, and I think most people, especially over here, we don't get to experience that. We're so afraid to go outside if it's not running,
Yeah, it's funny because it's not Monday, on Sunday it was so sunny and humid, and it had been, while you were gone, the weather was pretty mild, but we didn't get many sunny days, and it was so sunny but I was so tired. I'm inside, but I was just compelled to be outside all day. So I rode my bike. I probably rode like 15 miles that day, and
nice.
And like I was so beat because it was so hot, but it was so felt so good to be out under the sun. But it was like it wasn't working out or those weird impulses of like, oh, I must do something. I ate last night. I have to go run. It wasn't that. It was just that like I wanted to be in the sun, but it just so happens that like me being in the sun turns me into like a biking like frigging Lance Armstrong. In other words, you know.
Well, did you eat a lot of bad food over
No, not really. It was just it wasn't even. That's what I was trying to make the point of. It wasn't even that impulse. Oh, I did. When I went to Coney Island, I had Totono's again. So I mean, if you count that as bad, but like, you
there?
know, oh boy, yeah. So but it wasn't even that. It was just I couldn't wait to. I was like, oh, it's the sun, and I like sprung up and couldn't wait to go outside.
Yeah,
It was
it's
one
been
of those.
nice. I think the weather here is nicer than when I was in LA.
Yeah, it's been really good lately. We're getting apparently the summer version of the polar vortex right now, allegedly.
Weird. Just I'm scared because LA was humid and it's never humid, dude.
Yeah, it's the reverse, if you heard, because they have La Nina right now, so everything's warmer out there, and the water, like, because when I was in San Diego too, the water was really warm. I was in the ocean all the time, and out here it's cold. Like, it shouldn't be this cold and not humid for a summer, you know.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
dude, I wasn't too happy, but because it never gets humid in LA, man. Never ever. Maybe like 1 or 2 days, but it was humid every day that I was there. And San Diego was gorgeous, but it was a little bit humid. San Diego was gorgeous. Every day was like fantastic. I was like, God, this is ridiculous that people have a
yeah,
choice to live in this wherever they want, and people say, "Oh, I'm gonna live in San Diego." Ah, it's awesome.
yeah, they do have the best weather I've experienced consistently.
Yeah, it's nice.
Even
Yeah.
when there's no sun there, it's nice.
Yeah, it was overcast one day, but it was still nice, and it was a little bit breezy, but not too bad. I just didn't go to the pool that day. I kind of just did more active stuff to kind of keep myself, warm. But
Right.
it was nice. I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. It's such a weird area because it's so like military, you know, older people, younger people. Like it's a weird energy that's there.
Well, particularly where you were from your hotel, it
Yeah.
sounds like that I know from my experience there. That is more of the military and whatever kind of area. That's
College
different.
kids, all that stuff. It's a party town, man. That place, not just because of the con, it parties. The party's hard because there's all these bars in that one area.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they have Lyft, which they just launched in New York City. That's how I got around there, man. Lyft is awesome.
What's left?
Lyft is, you've heard of Uber before?
Oh, like that?
Yeah, it's like that, but Lyft is like a little cleaner. It's just like, and it's a little cheaper. And I got it around so cheap. And they just launched it in New York City 2 days ago, but there's like not many drivers yet. But because I used it in California, they've given me 2 free weeks of Lyft.
So, like, just to get rides?
Yeah, it's basically like, in other words, if you have a car, you can get background checked and become a driver for Lyft. And then whenever you want to drive, you turn on your phone, your Lyft app, and you'll be like, I'm ready to take pickups. And then
Oh, that's
people will. Yeah, so it's basically like it's a car sharing, but you have a driver.
wow.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
it's cool. It's pretty cool. And they use it a lot in San Diego, so they have a cool spirit of sharing there like that. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into what we were where we left off a few weeks
Let's
ago.
stuff that we owe the fans to.
Yeah, so Froy was going over. Steve Maxwell had a segment on the Joe Rogan Experience. It wasn't even a segment. He just kind of in passing mentioned that he had these habits these rituals that he does every morning, and they were fascinating. So Froy and I kind of researched them further, and kind of put the brain to the question, and I'm sure one day we'll get to ask him. But why do you do this, and why would you do this? And Froy's been doing a lot of them. I've been doing a few of them, not all of them, and it's been a good point of discussion if you've listened to some of the prior podcasts. So
Yeah,
if
I
you
do a
want to
lot.
if you want to hear some of the other items that Froy is about to discuss, or the other ones in the series, just go back into the podcast and the previous episodes, and you'll hear them. We've been kind of doing it as a ongoing project.
So just to recap, tongue scraping, number one. I use a Dr. Tongue's TUNG metals scraper.
That thing works beautifully.
Yeah, it's pretty. I got one for my mom. It's crazy. She's like, "Oh my God, what's on my tongue?" She started freaking out. It's gross when you do it. You're like, I don't know if it just seems like it's.
I
I don't
don't
know.
get. I don't know what it means, but I don't get that much off. I wonder if I just have a clean tongue.
Got the metal scraper though.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I do get some stuff off. It just depends. I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out
In the
the
morning,
correlation.
water, right?
What's that?
First thing in the morning without drinking any water or anything like that,
Yeah, I
right?
just hop up. No, stuff comes off, but a lot of times it's just like dense saliva, you know?
Yeah. No, this is like gunk, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? So it's interesting. Head massager, you can get those on Amazon. The kind with like a wire and the little balls at the end. It just kind of goes down your head like
Hmm.
kind of looks like a mixer, like one of those hand mixers, but it's sprouted out so you can have your own little plastic little balls in the end that just kind of massage and scratch your head very nicely to get the blood flow.
Hmm.
Neti pot, I love the neti pot. I missed it. I bought just those saline misters because I didn't want to take a whole neti pot.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. Like today, I came back, my first day, it just felt good. I'm like, this is good. This is really good. Felt natural. It felt clean. Feel like I can breathe better. Just keeping everything good. You do have to watch out for parasites, but geez, if your water's that bad, you got bigger issues.
Well,
Uh,
it's less about the water and more about keeping the pot clean. But yeah,
no,
disclaimer, make sure you
they
keep
said
that
that
pot clean.
the big issue is obviously keeping the pot clean, but they said the biggest issue is parasites in the water.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, somebody died from like getting a parasite in their brain and dying. I'm like, well, okay, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Dry skin brushing. This one kind of coincided with this large weight loss that I had. Um, but it's basically detoxing the lymph node, the lymph system, just kind of getting all that stuff out. The biggest organ that we have for detox is our skin. So
Hmm.
keeping it nice and clean and the pathways for the body to purify itself is obviously a good thing. Think of it more like you wash your clothes in the dryer, but you check the lint screen first, or else it's going to take way longer for your stuff to dry, right?
Right.
So basically, this is a way of cleaning the lint brush, which is just on a bigger scale. So dry brush, skin massage, uh, cold water therapy, and this is one I'm actually going to go a little bit more in depth, not in terms of talking about it, but because it's very obvious. You basically,
I
you know,
love this one, by the way. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, this one's kind of hard to do on your own. So they said there's a way to do, our body. There's nothing like having large amounts of water being poured on our body, not like a shower, more like think hiking in Hawaii in a volcano or something, paradise in a like a waterfall, and you can get under that waterfall, which is like not like shower head. It's more like a big, you know, blast of water just naturally coming down,
Right.
and usually it's cold or naturally cold, and that is like a shock to the system, a good shock. Like our body wants something like that primally. And one thing I can think about is like, like you go outside, you run, and then you want a nice cold glass of water. I think the body kind of wants that in terms of a shock. Because a cold glass of water is a shock to your system. Your body's hot, you're hot internally, and then you douse it with a cold water. And again,
Right.
I'm not advocating cold water because cold water might upset your stomach, causes contractions in your intestines. Just because it's cold water, you're changing the temperature from the inside of your body to get it a little bit colder, which you kind of don't want. Your body wants homeostasis. Um, but again, like the effect of water hitting your face and your body in a certain way changes the energy, and it also kind of I don't want to say like enlivens you in a way. So that's something
Right.
you can do, and there's a way to do it. Like I was reading an article on Reddit about how to shower with a bucket of two buckets. So you have one really large bucket of cold water, and then you have a smaller little bucket that you kind of use to kind of be a little bit more precise with the water. So I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking we could try that. Steve Maxwell actually gets in a bathtub, fills a big, huge bucket with water, and then pours it on himself in a certain, very specific way where it lands on his face and his head. Or you can pour it on your belly button. So there's different ways to do it.
Yeah. You know
But
what's kind of? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
You know what's kind of strange though is that I always have noticed this for years that if I'm out on the beach or out somewhere warm, or if I go in a pool, it's never complete until like I get my head wet with the like colder water or whatever temperature the water is. But like if I'm in a pool and keeping my head above it, or if I'm in the ocean and keeping my head above it, it's never like the whole experience
Not
of
complete.
of doubt. Yeah, it's just it's not right. It's almost like everything is up in the brain, you know?
Well, let me
Like I
look.
never truly cool down until the head gets submerged.
Let me look something up because I was reading exactly what we were talking about. It's called and we've talked about it before, the mammalian diving reflex.
Interesting.
The mammalian diving reflex is a reflex in mammals which optimizes respiration to allow staying underwater for extended periods of time. It is exhibited strongly in aquatic mammals, but exists in weaker versions in other animals, including humans. Diving birds such as penguins have a similar diving reflex. Every animal's diving reflex is triggered specifically by cold water contacting the face. Uh, and and does not so water that is warmer than blah 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 does not cause a reflex, and neither does submersion of body parts other than the face. So it's an interesting thing, like you said it, like you don't feel it like until you put your head in, right? It's different.
Right.
So upon initiating the reflex, so meaning cold water into the face, three changes happen to the body in this order. Bradycardia is the first response to submersion. So immediately upon facial contact with cold water, the human heart rate slows down 10 to 25%. Seals experience change even more dramatic, going from blah blah blah. Slowing the heart rate lessens the need for bloodstream oxygen, leaving more to be used by other organs. That's cool. Number two, peripheral vasoconstriction sets in. When under high pressure induced by deep diving, capillaries in the extremities start closing off, stopping blood circulation to those areas. Kind of cool.
Well,
Uh,
this is kind of all the theories behind that cryotherapy stuff that
yeah, in a certain way it is. In a certain way it is.
your
This is,
fighters talk about a
yeah,
lot.
I would think that this is where they started their own, probably the research on like, oh, okay, well, what happens to the body when it gets cold? But this is the body saying, hey, I have my own therapy, and it involves you like, hey, jump in the water every once in a while with your face, you know?
With your head.
Yeah. And the last thing that happens is a blood shift that occurs only during very deep dives. When this happens, organs and circulatory walls allow plasma slash water to pass freely throughout the thoracic cavity, so its pressure stays constant and the organs aren't crushed. So you got some cool stuff going on with the body just from having water, diving into water and having it face. So think about it. How often do you go to the beach, or how often do you do that? Nobody really does that very often. So these little things that you do to your body can have a massive, primal effect. Like we always talk about, deadlifting, drinking water, fasting, like intermittent fasting, which is very primal too. All these things kind of set off a chain of events that happen in your body that could be bad, it could be good, but you never know unless you try these weird offbeat. Well, they're not really weird; they're just non-practice things. Um,
Yeah. Well, if you think about like humans have been around for a while. I mean, I know in the grand scheme of the world we haven't been around that long, but we've been around a while, so it makes sense that a lot of really crazy things have been tried and maybe some just lost favor because they were bullshit and some lost favor because, just they haven't been done in a while. So I can certainly see why um I guess my point is I can, these are all things that we kind of had to discover sort of on our own because before we had podcasts and books and stuff, I'm sure early man and woman probably weren't thinking to themselves like, well, I need to induce brachycardia and I need to, submerge my head in water or whatever. But they were just thinking there was like some natural urge to just go jump in that cold ravine or something,
yeah, or if they just did it to kind of do like, be like I have to go fishing, or I have to drop something that I'm gonna need, or I have to see if there's anything that I can use under the water.
Right,
And
right.
again, I think this speaks to like changing things up. Don't stick to the same routine. You know, do something different. Just like some days we had to run from animals, some days we had to run to kill animals, some days we had to climb up a tree to hide, and some days we had to, you know, and the exact opposite is just like sitting at a desk, not doing anything, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, some days you have those times where you need to just be all anabolic, just sitting, you know, or meditating or whatever it was, or it was a day of rest, or yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The last thing he does is he dries himself off with a coarse towel, and that kind of goes along with the same, you know, dry skin brushing, but it's also, I feel like I get a better shower. I feel a little bit more, I feel lighter after I do it. You know, I used to use the loofah, and then I used to use
A loofah man.
the plastic loofah, then I use the real loofah, and then, you know, nothing feels as good as like you know, a natural bristle brush. You know, I've always used Dr. Bronner's soap because I felt like it's a clean, nice alternative to all the
Yeah.
other stuff that's heavily fragranced, which I used on my vacation because nobody had. They couldn't find Dr. Bronner's anywhere.
You couldn't
Um,
find Dr. Bronner's in California?
well, I mean, I didn't go to Whole Foods. I'm talking like Target or
No.
Rite Aid or not Dwayne, you know, Dwayne's there. CVS. I just couldn't find it at one of those places, and I didn't want to go to Whole Foods and spend $20 just for something for 5 days, you know.
Yeah, I have a little travel version, like tiny one that I bring with me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw those after. I'm like, damn, I should just bought one of those
Yeah.
because I ended up using like a heavily nasty bar of soap. And I'm like, oh, this is gross. It's so powerful. I'm like, why doesn't my soap stink like so much?
Yeah, you know when you go between, like, if you've been using like bars of like Dial or you know whatever it is for your whole life, like, and then you go to the Dr. Bronner's or you go to like the Defense soap or like the natural hemp soaps and stuff, like
Mhm.
it's a lot different. Like the way you feel after, what it does to your skin, all that stuff. Like it's very
Yeah,
it
people don't realize the chemicals, not just the fragrance stuff, the other stuff that's in your soap or your makeup. There's like low level toxicity, high level toxicity, and sometimes low level, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on? If you ever want to do research on it, there's an app. I can't remember the name of it. Let me see, because the app will tell you like the levels of stuff that's going on in your toxins and makeup or facial products. Okay, so let's see. This is going to be the best
I
app I've
think
installed.
dead air there. But yeah, that's yeah. As you find that app, it but I was just gonna say it is kind of jarring though. It's kind of cool. And then once you find that, I have a question for you about your course towel.
Let's see. The same thing as what I think it's called Think Dirty. Think Dirty app. It'll tell you. You can use it to market to help pick. Will tell you shampoo or makeup contains potentially toxic chemicals. So that's one of them that I've heard of. There was another one I can't remember the name of it, but you can literally scan a barcode and it'll tell you, well, yeah, don't do this high level or low level, lead, all that other stuff. Oh, Skin Deep, Skin Deep.
I've heard of that. Yeah, that's cool.
So Think Dirty and Skin Deep app. If worried about some of the stuff that you use. I don't think people realize it. It's a lot like, I remember how plastic got a bad rap, like, oh, BPA, BPA, and then we stopped doing BPA.
Yeah.
Think about it. This is more intimate. This is one of the reasons why I started making my own deodorant. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
the deodorant one's pretty crazy because it's a known fact of some of the crazy stuff that they've put in deodorant over the years.
yeah, but a lot of people call BS on it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to answer. All I know is that I make one, and it's really good, and I don't have to worry about anything. And I just kind of, I'm
Yeah.
happy with the ingredients. It's real easy. Coconut oil. Uh, I
Don't
stopped.
give it away.
I know, right? I stopped using cornstarch because I was worried about it, so I ended up using arrowroot powder. And the last one is baking soda. You just mix it all together.
Where
Obviously,
did you ever get that alternative
it
arrow?
was a yoga. That girl, the Strala yoga website. It's a
Yeah.
and one of her teachers made it and put it out there, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I researched bulletproof forums, and they said to not use cornstarch, to use arrowroot powder instead.
Yeah, the cornstarch was a little weird, but you know what's crazy though is like it's so much better because it works really well. It doesn't ruin your clothes either. That's the other one, you
Yeah.
know.
Unless you put it on, like I put it first thing in the morning. I wake up and I put the deodorant on. That way I can let the coconut oil kind of sink in and it doesn't stain anything.
Yeah, but even if it does go in, I had like a red shirt and the coconut oil kind of like bled through almost immediately. It washed out though.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good one. I feel good about it, and I run to work, and I don't reek. It's like it's really I'm gonna say strong because it just works really well, and it doesn't smell like anything unless you put some oils. Like you can put some essential oils if you want. Sometimes I put like mint or something that's really, like a little bit minty, and it kind of works out pretty good.
Yeah, I've read before that people do things like that.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you can do for free that kind of like frees you up a little bit, like with your liver. It doesn't toxic tax your body. Um, it's all good stuff that you can do. What were we gonna ask about the top?
But yeah, let me ask you about the towel. So, does this towel every time you wash it, does it get softer though? That's what I'm curious about. Is like,
No, it's actually it's not like a coarse. You don't think towel. Don't think like a really rough old towel. Think more of like a loofah that's been turned into a towel.
uh-huh. I'm looking them up right now. I'm looking up like coarse
So
towels. The reason I ask is because I know that like um, different I know that different ways that you wash cotton when you process it, like for clothes, for towels, whatever, depending on how it's like processed, it's going to be coarse or not coarse. But over time, it kind of like loosens up. That's like why those t-shirts that you usually get for free from places, they're really stiff and heavy at first. Like that Steelers shirt you gave me, the
yeah,
Sons of Anarchy one. Like it's stiff and heavy at first, but then you wash it more and more, and it gets really soft, and it almost feels like one of those like washed heathered shirts after like a year of washing it. I wonder if that happens to coarse towels. That's what I was curious about.
yeah. No, this thing's different. You're thinking too much of a towel. This is more of
Oh, okay.
like a loofah that's been kind of like exposed, like pulled apart, and it's so there's more air in between than there is towel material.
Oh, I think I found a picture of one right here. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
seeing what you're saying now.
I think I got it on Vitacost.com.
Is it
They have,
large?
they have what?
Is it large? You get a big one, or is it more like a facial towel?
No, it's more like it's longer than a facial towel, but not as big as a towel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it got on Vitacost.com, and I kind of use it to dry myself off. It doesn't in any way dry you completely. You have to use another towel after that, but it just
Okay.
I could scrape the excess water off my body. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So it's like a morning ritual, and it's kind of like calming and meditative. I just do this, and it's kind of like I want to say like a cup of coffee in the morning. You're doing the nose, you're doing the head massage, you're doing the tongue scraping. You're kind of just like a serious meditation on, okay, I want my day to go well. I'm doing this right off the bat. And then you end with, or I do when I get to work, I do the 5 Tibetan rites, which we've talked about before. If you don't know what they are, I'm going to simplify it in very easy terms. It's basically 5 yoga poses. I'm going to be as bold to say. Then I could hear people crying, oh, no yoga. It's basically 5 yoga positions that you do, each one 21 times every morning, just to kind of. The theory is that you'll live forever if you do this, or you'll live a long time because you're taking care of your spine, which I always talk about. Take care of your spine.
Oh yeah, that's a big
So
one.
yeah, look up YouTube 5 Tibetan rites. You'll find thousands of videos on there. Just check it out. It's something that you kind of want to throw into your routine. I've done it. I feel fantastic, and it's all. And usually, to be honest with you, it's basic. It really, really targets areas that people have a lot of problems with. Anyways, if you sit a lot, you're gonna need this.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a very balanced little, for lack of a better term, warm up. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's just it kind of incorporates everything you would want. Um, like you said, for someone who sits a lot or someone who kind of needs to move more, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that everybody should at least do once. Put it into your repertoire. Find out what you can and can't do, and then you'll be like way ahead of the game because some of these things are really hard to do, and if you have really tight quads or like if you sit a lot, you're not gonna be able to do a lot of these things, and you're gonna be like, wow, okay, I need this. And if you can't afford a trainer, it's a very cheap way to take care of your spine. If you can't afford a trainer or you can't do yoga classes, it's a very simple and easy way to kind of start taking care of your spine and realizing, hey, what's going on with my body? And then from there, you can learn, like, okay, what I need to do to be able to do this table pose. And they're like, well, you need to perform all your quads. You need to do this with your calves. Your shoulders need to work on. Like, it's a very, it's a good benefit. Like, you have nothing to lose by trying it. You literally have nothing to lose and everything to gain because you'll learn a lot more about your own body.
Right. No, it's good stuff. I mean, I don't do them exactly, but I have my warm up routine that I kind of developed when I was on vacation and to kind of do in the absence of jujitsu because to me there's nothing better than if you have mats available to you doing the warm ups that we do at jujitsu. Like you never feel looser after, but you know the next best thing are these Tibetan rites, and yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it takes about, shoot, I would say like 20 minutes to do it, if that, if that.
Yeah. I mean, you can make them. It's kind of like the old Paul Chek saying, like you can make them as long or as short as you want them to be because there might be one that just feels really good and you might want to take 10 minutes on. And there's another one that like if you need just 2 minutes to do it, that might be it for you, you know? You're good. That type of thing.
Yeah, as long as you have good body awareness, I think you're good. If you're doing it, if you're just cutting it out because oh, I don't feel like doing it, or you're being lazy, then you're missing the purpose. Not you. I'm just saying the purpose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't like this one because it's hard, especially like the core one is very hard.
Right, right. Yeah.
Usually, they want you to do it 21 times for a reason, you know. So it's kind of, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, pick the zones that work best for you, you know.
Yeah, it's just that that was like the biggest thing. Like that like if you ever want to talk about like projects, this has been like a life project for me is that like I've always since I was always an active kid. I always loved being outside and running around, riding my bike and and then as you get a little bit older, you start thinking about it in terms of health, like, oh, maybe I should go ride around the block 5 times because it's good for my heart, and I'm a teenager now, or, you start to kind of have more responsibility attached to your movement and whatnot. And there were always some things in the gym that would just feel really good to me. Like, and I was like, wow, this loosens me up. This feels great. But it would never fit in someone's like rigid program. Like when I had a trainer, it's like it wasn't part of his program, and I was too dogmatic to like break the program or break the program I was reading about or whatever. And like ever since I finally realized, it's like no, it's like this thing, whatever it is, if it's a downward dog pose for 5 minutes, that helps you. If that helps you, if that makes you feel good, do it, Like
Yeah.
for me, it's really manifested itself for the past few months and just like that basic kind of sit and reach, just your legs extended out and you just touch your toes, when you're sitting down, legs extended. I'll do that for 5-10 minutes at a time, and by the end, I have a couple more inches on it than I did, at the start, and like that just feels good to me. And you know, whereas maybe whatever program that says that's bad for you, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
but
Well,
there's other movements. In other words, like if you like taking a walk
yeah.
to to supplement your weight training, for instance, do it. Like it doesn't have to be a run, just because Joe, whoever on the internet tells you need to get your 20 minutes of high intensity cardio, you know.
Yeah, I think what ends up happening is like if you do our foundational stuff and you take care of your sleep, you take care of your water, you take care of your breathing, all that peripherals, not peripheral, all that very core central stuff.
Uh-huh.
Your workouts just become about movement and celebrating your body, and just they're not like these raw pre-workout like intense, insane things that you got to fit into 45 minutes. It just becomes about like a real, genuine, sincere celebration of your body. Like not this like I gotta have a six pack or I gotta have the. It's less. I don't want to say intense. It's this very chill thing that you can go. Okay, I want to go do 60 pull-ups, some squats, maybe some sprints, and that's it. You know, you're not like, okay, I got to get my chest day in. You know, like a very like dogmatic way of thinking about working out is kind of shifted into more of a, a simple way to take care of your body, and a workout is part of that whole recipe, but not just the recipe. I think people they front end the exercise too much, and then let's say you get stressed, you can't work out. Worst, which happens to everybody, you get hurt, and then everything gets off track, you know?
Right.
So, give yourself that space. Make it easier. Like, make workouts just what they are. They're not about, like, the workout of the day or anything like that. They're more about, like, a celebration of your body and a very easy and intense. It can be intense if you want it to be. It can be whatever you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be the workout that everybody else is doing, just like you're saying, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of what it's movement that matters to you right there. There's that word again, or that phrase.
It's true, though. I mean, it's all very movement that matters. It's all very sincere movement. It's just movement. Movement isn't necessarily a six-pack. Movement is movement. If you want a six-pack, you do the movement repeatedly that will get you a six-pack, you know?
Right.
It's just it's a broader understanding of health. It's a broader, and I think that's where these little things like, hey, tongue scraping. Well, how's that gonna help me get a six-pack? If you don't think it will if you do it right, along with the other things, you know?
Right.
So it's something to consider. These things are all something to consider and put them in your toolbox for, hey, how do I fix my body? Or, hey, what's going on here? Or, why are you doing this? And if this is your goal. Something to kind of, again, add to your toolbox, because you don't feel like working out. All right, do all these things, and let's see, do all these things for a week and see how your body reacts, you know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
A late breaking news right here during the podcast. Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz are going to be fighting each other in January.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, it's
set. That's a weird fight.
Yeah. Oh, you were on vacation. They've been talking about, because Nick Diaz just got re-signed to the UFC, and
Nick, the younger brother or the older?
The older one.
Okay.
And the one that was always calling out GSP, blah blah blah, all that. Yeah. Well, he had been talking a lot, and they were talking about bringing him back to the UFC, and they had made the contract happen, but the trash talk that was going on. But it's so funny with Anderson Silva. The trash talk that was going on is he's like, I want Anderson, I want Silva. And then Anderson's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. As soon as my leg's healed, let's fight. You can be my first fight.
Yeah, he doesn't want the guy anymore, right?
What was that?
He doesn't want the guy that broke his leg anymore.
Yeah, exactly. No more Weidman.
Wow.
Who, by the way, if you watch that Weidman Machida fight, that was a hell of a fight. That was a really great fight.
It was there was one this weekend, right?
Yeah, Robbie Lawler and what's his face, Matt Brown.
Wow. Who won?
Winner fights Johnny Hendricks. Spoiler alert, Robbie Lawler won, and he's going to be fighting Johnny Hendricks for Hendricks' second bout in a row against Robbie Lawler.
I've always liked Lawler. He was good at that other place he was at.
Yeah, Strike Force. I like him a lot too. He's like a technician with the boxing, and
yeah, he's good with jiu-jitsu too, right?
He's not. I mean, I'm sure he is, but I don't think he's necessarily known for it. He's more known for slugging and just having very very good.
Other guy. I can't remember the other guy. God, he's like a pretty boy, nice body. Looks very straight-laced, but he's really good at jiu-jitsu. I just can't. Lawler.
Josh Thompson?
Might be him. He's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
I
think he's fought Lawler before, but it was in the other federation they were in.
Carlos Condit?
No, it's a white dude.
I am trying to think. I don't know. There's a.
It might be Josh Thompson. I'll look it up.
Yeah, Josh Thompson was a wrestler. He was like a NCAA world national champ, and could be him. I'm trying to think too.
I'll figure it out.
But yeah, that is. Any parting thoughts here?
No, things are good. Things are good, man. Just we'll have some projects ready for you. Come back with some new stuff on the podcast. Send us your stuff. We want to know what you want to know. We want to know what you want us to talk about. Otherwise, we'll keep bringing these cool little exercise health concepts to you. You know.
Yeah, and if there's something you want us to research too, like that's the kind of stuff we geek out over. So if there's a topic like how about this, we'll dive in. We won't just talk around the periphery.
Do you have any issues with any injuries or any weight loss issues or anything? Hit us up. Normally we talk about it. Anybody who's hit us up before, we've gotten back to them, and sometimes we made it a podcast topic. So.
Indeed, we have. This is what we like.
Yeah, jet lag's terrible right now, but it's manageable.
Oh man, poor guy.
Yeah, my earthing mat helps.
Does it?
Yeah, I feel like it does. I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like it does.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I believe in the science, but when it comes to jet lag, I'm not. I don't know what to think, but yeah.
I think it makes sense. Like you're basically your body wants to get to the frequency of the place that you're at, and it makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot. There's a whole book on it. I haven't read it yet, but it's a whole book on it that comes with the map.
Yeah. Who is it recently? I can't remember if I told you the story, but someone started talking to me, someone completely unexpected about the science of earthing, and they're like, "Yeah, no one." And I was like, and then I started talking to them back, and they're like, "Wow, no one ever knows what I'm talking about." I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then we started talking, like
Wow.
2 people who actually knew. God, who was it? I think it might have been in San Diego.
Nice.
Talking to someone about it.
Makes sense. San Diego would be a place where people would be like, "Yo, earthing."
Yeah, I don't know. Can't remember. But anyway, we'll get into that next week or something.
Cool. Yeah, hit us up, people. Let us know what's going on in your life, health-wise, and what you want to talk about, and we'll get back to you, or we'll make a podcast topic out of it. Find us on Twitter and Gmail. Mark knows.
Yes, you know where to find us at Fun Meatheads on Twitter, functionalmeatheads.com, and search iTunes and Stitcher for us, Functional Meatheads. You'll find it. You can subscribe and download. If you ever can, if you like the show, leave a positive review, even if it's just like, love it. That stuff helps us a lot, especially in getting more people to listen. And the more people who listen, we get better content because we get more interaction. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, we want to bring you interviews at one point, but we can't do that until we get more numbers. And obviously it's up to us to get the numbers, but we know people are listening that aren't, kind of not contributing, but like giving us the review. So go ahead and give us the review so we have something to work with.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I wouldn't hold the no interviews over them for reviews, but yeah, no, because we can interview people.
Do you want to get cool people?
The caliber goes up.
The people that we always talk about, we want to get those people on here. That's one of the reasons why we started it, and we want to bring them to you in a very specific way. We want to spend some time with them, and we can do that if we have a little bit more sway. It's just basically how it works. We're not lying to you. We just want to get some more stuff going that's a little bit more than what we normally do, and keep the ball rolling, and it'll help you. Hopefully not an environment where people are selling books or pushing books, because that's how it seems like other people get interviews, and I don't like that too much, but who knows.
Yeah, that's kind of the way the media circuit's always worked. People actually come on when they want to sell something, but yeah, that is the world.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll hit this up.
Yeah, let's end on a happier note. I'm going to go do some pull-ups before dinner.
Really?
Yeah, probably. I'm going to go next door, do some pull-ups. I have this new short project to end on, that I every week I go into the gym and I say, like, that day I'm going to do 40 pull-ups, but they have to come 4 at a time, 5 at a time, 6 at a time, whatever. I'm up to 6 at a time now.
Nice. And, that's what I do every week. I want to get 60 pull-ups. I'll do 5 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
All I want is volume. It's the best way to learn how to do a pull-up and get volume without actually, okay, I'm going to do 12 and then rest 2 minutes and then 12 and then rest 2 minutes.
Right, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like that number 40 doesn't go up until I can, on the last set, still do 6. So I have to be able to, even though 6 doesn't go evenly into 40, but still, like, I would go over 40. But in other words, that last set that breaks 40 has to be 6, or I don't go up. So, like, the next increment will probably be 45 or something. I'm just kind of arbitrarily choosing it. But then once I go to 45, 7 has to be the minimum,
Yeah, it's a good way to get volume. It's a very good way to get volume in, and not casually, just more send the signal, and then one day you'll be able to do 10 easier than you've ever been able to do 10 before.
Right, exactly. And it helps your grip if you do jiu-jitsu. You grab on the people.
Yeah, mad grip. It's good.
Mad grips, yo.
Everybody should be able to do pull-ups.
Yep. Anyway, take care, everyone. We'll be back next week. We are back on the normal schedule. No more summer breaks. Thanks for your understanding and not hearing us for a week or two. I can't remember if it was 2 or not. Might have been 2, but at least 1. Anyway, take care, people. Why not brush your hair?
Watch the regular show.
And it's time for the woo-off.
Yeah.